Welcome to Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Water. Maggie Wolfendale, Andy Serling. Day number 34,
Dude.
I believe, of the meet.
I don't know.
The
You're
day
right,
after the
that was
Travers. And big performance by Arcangelo, cementing his position as far and away the leading three-year-old.
Yeah, and Jenna Antonucci becoming only the second female trainer to win a Travers. I could not be prouder of her and happier for her. And she stuck by her guns. She trained him and trained him beautifully and meticulously up to the Travers. You know, some people critical that she didn't have a prep race to this Midsummer Derby. And Javier rode him with the utmost confidence, gave him a great ride, and he proved that he's a leader of the division.
I liked Javier's comments after it about having to fight for it, you know, and it's the big time, and you got to, you know.
7 wins in the Travers for him too.
Unbelievable for him, and for anybody who's waiting to second guess Jenna, well, you can't do it because she was right. She knew her horse, and she's done a great job with this horse. She really has. And he's a terrific racehorse, and he really was best. I thought Joel gave Disarm just a tremendous ride, you know.
Disarm's nice.
No,
he's a nice horse.
Right.
He's gonna. That's I think he's kind of emulating his sire a bit in Gun Runner, and he looks so much like him as well. And I think the best is yet to come. Kind of typical, you know, Steve Asmussen. Just bring him along, and with each start, gets better and better.
No, I agree. It's a great point with him actually, because he has improved. He's a horse that I didn't really have much respect for, and I was wrong about him.
Oh no, I have liked him.
He ran really well yesterday. I agree, but I also thought Joel gave him a great ride. Obviously, Forte was the story in not showing up, and I think you and I were talking a little off camera. It's unusual with Todd in these situations, but for whatever reason he didn't show up in there. He's run very well in his other races, and I don't think it tarnishes necessarily his other races, but I do think it's a fair question if he is a good horse on a wet sealed track. Some horses do excel on it, and he's run very well on 2 up here in his career.
Exactly.
But I don't think it's fair to say that's the only reason he ran well, because he's run very well on dry tracks as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what went wrong. Could it have been the track? Absolutely. But I think we'll let the dust settle and see what kind of comes out as to will they continue on with him? Will he have a break? We can see.
We'll see what happens with these horses, but Arcangelo will be heading the Breeders' Cup. And tell you what, right now this is a pretty good Breeders' Cup Classic for a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Not saying they're going to win, but there aren't any killers going long out there. I mean, unless you want to, you know, I suppose it's possible the Whitney winner could reproduce an effort like that, but he's going to have to reproduce a pretty good effort to beat Arcangelo.
I like Guaidabario, but he's one that I've just always gotten wrong. You know what I mean?
There are a lot of them for me, but he's definitely one of them as well for me.
So, and like, I respect him, but yeah, there's no flight lines this year. This is kind of a more wide open classic that we've seen.
And I like that. I like that. I mean, I'm sorry the 3-year-olds don't meet the olders more often, but so be it. We got 11 to talk about, so we should probably get to work. It is a New York Bred Showcase Day, and we love the New York Breds here. We love the New York Breds everywhere, and we're excited about that, and we're looking forward to these stake races for the New York Breds and all the New York Bred races today. Best way to play them is NYRA Bets. Head on over to NYRABets.com. If you're not a member, use the promo code SPA200, and we will match $200 of your initial deposit. We have, of course, the multiple pick 4s today as well. It's 11 race cards. They would be probably 2, 5, and 8, I'm guessing. We also have, or maybe it's 2, 3, and 8. I'm not even sure, to be honest. Take a quick look here.
Don't ask me.
It is 2, 5, and 8, I think. We also have multiple pick 5s as well, 3 of them, the middle one being a mandatory payout. See what else we have today. We have the low rollers contest. I saw Ray and Jay on the way over. $40 buy-in, $30 bankroll, $10 the prize pool. It's outside the Miller Times 4-Star Dave Sports Bar. I stopped there to have a few drinks before I came over. I like to do that, get ready for Maggie. It's always a little extra pressure here. You know, just you and Maggie. It's exactly. You and I, you know, we spend a lot of time drinking together at work. Every Thursday and Sunday on track only.
We should start doing shots.
Yeah. I'm thinking we'll wait for next Sunday for that, Maggie. The final day the two of us work at NYRA.
So
bring a bottle for net. What else do we have? We have the cross country pick 5, 3 here, 2 at Monmouth. Begins at 2:16. I have a feeling the next thing could it be the Taste of New York? Is that coming up? Speaking of drinking during no, it's $1 million bonus for the late pick 5. We almost forgot that. Got to play it through NYRA Bets to be eligible. If you're the only winner, play through NYRA Bets late pick 5. Now I think we can start day drinking over at the Taste of New York Pavilion. It is a fun place. We kid, but it is a lot of fun. It's by Gate A, the Berkshire Bank Family Zone. And speaking of the Berkshire Bank Family Zone, Sundays, special time to head over there. Berkshire Bank Family Sundays, 11 to 4. And last but not least, we are on 1 to 6:30 on FS2. Okay, 1 to 6:30 on FS2. All right, race number 1 is off the turf. Races 1 and 11 are off the turf today. What did you do here?
I went with Dave Donk. I honestly, you know, with off the turf, the MTOs, I mean, I guess they can win. Obviously, they were entered MTO, but they're not that appealing. Look, I think that the George Weaver horse could certainly win. The horse you have on top.
I think they could all possibly win. You know, I love the Very Unstable. That is the
And
greatest
I love
stable
the
name of
Dam.
all time.
Don't you remember her? Say 3 Hail Marys?
No.
You don't? She went up here, I think. She may have won the Saratoga Dew.
She was a dirt horse.
Yes.
She was a really good dirt horse. Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, you could totally interpret Dave entering her for the turf as a negative, but I just thought there were enough workouts in there, enough foundation, and enough pedigree to say that she should be able to handle the dirt first time out. Does get Arad Ortiz Jr. to on her today, and I figured I'd take a shot with her.
All right. I went to the obvious MTOs, the Salamini for, this is Alex Bregman, of course, for the Houston Astros. He and his family owned this one, bought it at the Timonium sale, and I picked this one, and Jorge Abreu's horse on the outside, 2 Salaminis. In fact, all 3 AEs, are MTOs, are Salaminis. I just noticed that.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's actually kind of cool.
That is funny. So Solo Shot, she worked 10 and 1, which is a very good work, but you watch the way she did it, she was hard ridden for that. Does have a decent way of going, and the Dam won first time out as a 2-year-old. But you look at the workout, and it's like they don't know what to do with her. That you see the turf work, and
she's got turf for the pedigree as well.
Exactly.
So
it's a swing kind of pedigree, and she was decimated 2 works back on the turf by a French-bred filly, or colt, I should say, for George Weaver. So she clearly doesn't like the turf. And now they're sticking her in here. Sure, she can win, like I said, but I wasn't so sure. And Love Thyself. I know they entered her for the turf first time out. She had that disastrous beginning, ducking into the rail. But the Dam was a stakes.
It's really it's dirt. It's all dirt.
I liked Miss Narcissus. You remember her, don't you?
No,
yeah.
Her I do remember.
Yeah, and she just, I think this is the right spot for her.
I agree. It's much more of a dirt family. I couldn't argue with any of that. And, you know, I just put TT because his horses seems to have live firsters up here.
He has him
Callie
ready.
Storm has plenty of dirt pedigree. Now it's now Kali, but the horse is a full to Callie Magic, who's a pretty nice dirt sprinting
solid.
filly.
I just felt like it's a pedigree that needed more time to develop, kind of thing. Not a first time out winning pedigree.
You know what's funny with the Jingle Jangle for Linda Rice? It's more of a dirt pedigree. There's some turf, and it had the look of one Linda might have thought needed a race, run on the turf, and then switch to the dirt.
Well, you know, so
I could be
this
wrong.
is obviously Jerry Zero, and Bold Child produced some really nice horses,
Very
such
good
as
horse.
Blind Willie McTell, Duquesne Whistle, and they were all, you know, dirt sprinters to kind of middle distance runners. But the latest foal, who's the Brooder, I mean, he's still a maiden, and they've tried the turf with him, even though he is bred more for the dirt. And 2, all of the progeny have taken at least 1 start to get going.
Like a lot of Linda's horses as well. And this one is a big brown, so maybe that's the thought on turf. We'll see. Yeah. I still wouldn't be surprised if this horse is a runner as well. I saw Jerry actually here just yesterday or the day before. Race number 2 is the Fleet Indian. And this is one of the bigger questions of the day. What do you do with Mark Henig's horse, Timely Conquest? I don't think there's a huge argument against her being the most talented horse in the race.
Exactly.
But now she's coming back 16 days later. She had a 2-month break. Mark's having an amazing meet, but the stretch out concerns me, and Mark's numbers on these stretch outs are not that good. He's 1 for 15 stretching out in the dirt off a win. And this horse ran great last time, and she's going to be tough. But
I think she was with the racetrack on August 11th.
I don't disagree.
For sure. You know, it just seemed like forward-placed horses did well. It could be just purely situational results, but it felt like a lot of horses struggle with making up significant ground. And she's incredibly loose here. But again, just lacking that foundation. She can win. Am I against her? Not at all. I think there's
I just
a lot
don't
of
want to pick her. I just don't want to pick her on top at a short price.
Doing something she hasn't done before.
Right, I agree. That's exactly how I felt. Now, are you taking?
That's an old picture of Mark.
That is an old picture of Mark. Wow.
Gosh.
He doesn't look anything like that now.
Nothing.
Sorry, Mark. We're getting a new picture of you.
Yeah.
I heard from Mark recently. Where'd you go here?
I went to, I took a shot here with Cairo Sugar.
All right.
I think she's just been facing tougher company, whether it's out of town. I know she's a little light on figures. I totally get that. But last time she was able to beat a heavy favorite there at Parks, and the favorite did spend a lot of time on the rail, and then once the favorite was able to extricate herself, once Cairo Sugar went by, Cairo Sugar drifted down to the rail, and she almost caught her. So clearly the rail was not the place to be, and I get it. And Irie Empress came back to win, but not with a fast figure at all. It was just a little bit of a shot here, Andy. Just because I like the horses that she's faced more than the company lines of some of these others.
Yeah, I didn't love that Irie Empress came back and ran 8 buyer points worse when she won. That bothered me a little bit about her. She's also going to be forward. I mean, I don't think she's going to. I don't think Flavian's going to let Timely Conquest have an easy trip around the track. It's not the way he rides.
But two, she has a 2-turn foundation.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
Why I liked her. She's going to be in a position to pounce, but with the stamina built in.
The Ichabod win last time is funny because from a figure standpoint, she has absolutely no chance here based on that race. And it was a very, very strange race. She's also run faster races. She was also coming back on 11 days last time, and now she's had over a month. So I'm going to take her just as more of a stalking type in this race. I don't love her. I don't totally trust her. I didn't really love Cairo Sugar chipping in. And I also don't really like this horse, Amanda's Folly. I don't know, Maggie. We'll take a look at her last race. She
was flattered by Sweet Mystery
I know she was.
and running faster.
She was. Sweet Mystery was also flattered by not the best of rides in the second place finisher when she came back to win. I'm not sure that Sweet Mystery should have won that race.
Okay, gotcha. True that. I keep not wanting to trust Amanda's Folly. I'm like, oh, she just looks a little bit cheaper on paper, and yet she keeps winning. So she would be a defensive use for me. Do I really like her? She's kind of getting out there towards the end. Does she really want to go a mile and an eighth? Probably not.
Does she want to do it rating? And if she doesn't rate, because she get involved with horses like the 3 and 4, and the pace gets a little bit tricky for her.
Like the other races have.
She's the one that's going to take money that I'm really against more so. And I've got her third. It's not like I'm wildly against her, but I'm more inclined. Like, I believe Timely Conquest is the best horse in this race.
I do too.
And I don't want to take a big stand against the best horse in the race.
Right.
I'm just not sure I want her at a short price today. And I think she's just a better horse than Amanda's Folly, in my opinion. Race number 3, I was all ready to bet on Swim Like a Hot Brown to wire the field. And, you know, it's funny.
He's completely lost his feet, though.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure he wasn't ridden that way. And it worked out because there was a ton of speed last time.
It was.
You know, and it's funny. I almost changed my picks to 5-6, and I don't care that I didn't because you and I would have the same pick in here. But as we look at City Man, Jerry the Nipper, and Dakota Gold, I mean, that scratch, that's going to really help Jerry the Nipper. And Jerry the Nipper, there's an argument, even though he finished second in this race, he probably ran the best race. And
he did.
He's a really good horse. I think he's a super cool horse. I'm a big fan. I should have picked him on top.
So Todd's other horse, whose name, why can't I remember this horse? The Mandy Pope horse that came out of that race that ran terribly that day and came back and won. It was second off the layoff.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not Mandy Pope. Not Grand
Sonata.
Reward. Grand Sonata. Yeah. That's not Mandy Pope, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, you're always right about that.
So flattered. I mean, Karamata didn't show up that day, but Easter came back to run really well again. And like, I think people will see maybe, you know, does he really want to win without Lasix or whatever? But he runs a great race every time. He's just facing, you know, these gritty New York horses that they all show up and meet out on the turf in these races.
Isn't that his best race we just showed without Lasix? He lost, but wasn't that the best race he ever ran?
That's what I mean.
So the Lasix argument would be
it's non-existent for me.
Somebody may make it, but it seems totally fallacious.
Right. So yeah, no, I just think Jerry the Nipper is best, has the recency this time, though, over City Man.
But to be fair, City Man and Dakota Gold are pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these are strong. This is a top-heavy division.
It's like Dakota Gold, okay, 2 back, he just got the dream setup.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
And this is a horse that used to have speed as a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old.
He's evolved. He's evolved.
I mean,
City Man, how much does it bother you with City Man that he missed time?
I mean, I remember Christoph saying he had a minor issue and that he was going to miss time. So,
yeah. I mean City Man, he seems to show up every time, so I don't want to take a big stance against him.
And he's run well and effectively off of layoffs. But I just thought if there was a time that Jerry the Nipper was going to get City Man, it could be today.
So Spirit of St. Louis, there's two schools of thought. You've taken one, I've taken the other one. And there is no doubt he had a very, very soft trip in this race.
Yeah.
But there also is a possibility that he's very good. I mean, I thought his win before that was probably more impressive, oddly, than his last race where he had significant trouble at the start. And I know he had a great trip in this race, but he crushed these horses last time. And I'm going to go with the optimistic side. I could have gone 5-6. I would use these two horses. I'm going to take the speed of Jerry the Nipper and try to beat City Man and Dakota Gold, and I'm going to take that this horse might just be pretty good. But I'm not overly confident, to be honest.
Yeah. It's funny kind of going through these races and handicapping them on paper because I'm so familiar with these New York breds. I do tend to kind of lean on what I've always seen from these horses physically. And look, nothing against Spirit of St. Louis. I just kind of have my crew of the older turf horses. But there's always room for a new face and a new shooter to be.
But he's going to be favored as the new shooter, and that might make him realistically a bad gamble.
Exactly.
We got a lot to talk about, so we'll move on to race number 4, and we'll roll through these 2-year-olds. I put up 4 workouts, and let's start with Trust Fund, the number 5, who you've got 3rd and I have 4th. I do think he ran well in here. I do think it was a race that was sort of dominated more forward. He's coming back in
that August 11th, you know?
Coming back in 16 days. Todd actually has, with a very small sample, good numbers coming back with these horses on short rest. But I thought this was a very, very competitive race to be coming back, and I wonder sometimes if he came back in some a little bit softer spots. This is a tough spot. This is a pretty competitive group.
There's no reason not to like him necessarily.
No, it's just I like other horses more.
Exactly.
And the 16 days scared me enough. It didn't scare me, but it was enough for me to say I'm going to put him behind the others.
Yeah. You went for Works for me, who just, basically blew a field away going the 5/8 back on June 23rd. And I respect this horse. Look, he beat, or he finished behind Wilson Q.
Where are we talking?
No, your horse.
Oh, well, let's go.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't send you the replay. So we've got the Wine Steward, your horse, next. We have my horse last, actually.
I found a kind of interesting stat that gave me a little bit more confidence with this horse.
Okay.
Because it's not one you necessarily think about with Mike Maker. And Dirt 2-year-olds won their last start. He's 11 for 50.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
This was also a track you could argue was pretty kind of speed last time.
And 2, he's 3 wide the entire way.
Yeah, I mean, this horse was not with the track. You look up, speed was very good this day at Ellis. So this horse is pretty good.
Yeah. I'm
not against him.
I know he looks lighter on figures a little bit
Not
than
much.
some of his competition, but exactly, not much to downgrade him by any means. And yeah, he did kind of keep the favorite Wilson Q hemmed in there, and Wilson Q finally got out. But again, he was moving away from that field towards the end. So I like the one.
I don't like that Wilson Q came back and ran 11 Beyer points worse in his. I'm sorry,
Fair.
this is 11 points than his prior race, but maybe he's better than that. You know what you're talking about? He scares me a lot, Wesley's horse. Take a look at him.
For that early
Right,
in the
exactly.
season.
It was really early. Now, I understand that Antonio of Venice needed to come back and win 2 races later. How good is he really?
Exactly.
But he was cranked up the first time. So I think he was cranked up to run his best race the first time. So I don't necessarily want to judge him too much by what he did subsequent to that, even though he did win 2 races later. And this Wesley Moore has now had 3.5 months to sort of mature since then, which means he could run even a much better figure.
Yeah, I just didn't. I mean, yes, he's going to go away from him at the end, and obviously, like you said, he could mentally mature there. Stays on his inside lead the entire way. He was probably just so much the best that day, and I just think this is a much better field.
We're going to have to really start rolling. So we'll look at what works for me here. I'm impressed by this horse, and I'm going to take him. He comes out of that killer race first time out, and back to the Wilson Q race. And Gold Sweep came out of that race to run so well, and that's why Wilson Q is favored, because that race has been it's like a key race.
Very live.
He's another one who's had some time since that race, and I like that. And I just think this horse might be pretty good. And I thought with the more low-profile connections, maybe you get a better price on him.
Yeah. Jolie.
Yeah.
Worked for Kieran McLaughlin.
Kieran. What is the
feed man.
What is the
Feed man.
what is the what is the word? Statute of limitations on how long we say somebody worked for somebody else, because he's been gone from Kieran for years, right?
Fair enough. I guess we just.
Well, I mean, it's just, I know,
No,
I always say it too,
I
so
feel
people
you.
know who he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what happens in the funny side. And by the way, we are honoring funny side today, and for good reason. He was pretty good. Race number 5. I think it's a fun race. I want to bet against the horse you have on top, what Loves looks like. And this is the race, the Port Washington. I don't know what to do with Runaway Rumor, who was terrible in there and came back, and Tough Spot or not. She didn't do any running last time. Obviously, she has the credentials to beat these, but I find her very hard to trust. Golden Rock I didn't think was good enough. I know what Loves looks like is in good form. The last race ran very well in there, but I wonder if she was better off just going longer, being forward in a slow pace. But Youth obviously thinks she's just in great form.
Yeah, and this was enough here. Who did you put on top?
She's Dancing. We're going to get
See,
to. You know what, guys?
did not
Let's
know
stop.
what to
Let's
do.
cut out the next video for time's sake. Is that okay, Eddie? Lisa's vision. We don't really need that, do we?
No, we don't.
I didn't think they were fast enough. Let's show She's Dancing. You have no She's Dancing in here. I don't know.
Look, I toyed with putting her on top, but and from my Mid-Atlantic days, I wholeheartedly respect Flint States. But it's not like he's had much success when shipping horses in, though it's a very small sample. It's only 2 horses that have run 2 times each.
Did they look like this horse? I mean,
no, but what is she beating?
Well, you
I
know what,
it's-
Maggie? The horse who finished 3rd in there, I believe, finished 3rd in the Mrs. Penny in the next start.
Okay.
And the horse who's 2nd's actually legitimately okay,
Yeah, no,
relatively
she was
speaking.
favored.
I mean, she just destroyed this field. Now, the next race was one wire-to-wire inside as well. And that gave me a little cause for pause, that maybe that benefited her a little bit. But I wonder a little bit, so War Dance that finally got the turf, maybe this is just one of those sort of freakishly good horses that's not going to get bet like she should because she is coming from out of town. So I'm going to take a shot
your
with her.
vantage point with her. I do, but I just, off of one race at Penn National, wasn't quite good enough for me. It's a fast race.
It's fine.
It's an impressive race, but
Listen, I understand, and I could be, she may just not class up to these. She may get out there and say, I'm not as good as these horses.
Yeah.
But I thought that last race pretty legit. We'll do the 6th race if that's okay, Eddie, and we'll take a break after 6. This race came up crazy tough, didn't
This
it?
is a fun-
It's
this
not
is a
quite
fun
the
race.
same, but I was almost thinking of that American Revolution maiden race from a few years ago,
yeah,
right?
Belmont,
It came up
right?
tough because there's some
Yeah.
really interesting horses here. We'll start with Rocket and Roll, who I have on top here, and you have 2nd. This is the race 2 back. This horse ran some pretty strong figures down at Oaklawn and comes in for Brad Cox. I'm going to take this one on top. I like the fact that he would be more forward than the others, but I'm not. There's other strong horses in here.
see, I don't think that the horse I put on top is going to be that far out of it either. Pure Fire. I hear you. I mean, this horse is turning back, does come in here with some quick works. Great stats for
Turning back.
Brad Cox. This horse, yeah, he's fine. I wanted one with recency. And look, both of these horses are really appealing, right? Because they've never faced New York breds. They sold for a good bit of money. It's always like, why are you taking a New York bred out of New York?
It's really strange that they had sent this horse to California. Probably the connections are out there, but this horse was always partly owned by West Point.
That's what I'm saying.
Why wouldn't you?
They have such a
That's so
strong
weird, right?
representation here.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, faced some serious horses
Yep.
last time out at Los Al, going a mile, which you could kind of see, just really didn't want to do. Plus, and I think races are run in a wide fashion at Los Al. They always seem to be well off the rail, but he was really well off the rail, losing a lot of ground, and he was beaten by 2 Bob Baffert horses.
Yep.
Worcester came back to win with a 94 figure.
Right.
So
Added 9 points higher.
I think the 7 furlongs fits this guy perfectly, being a practical joke. Yeah,
I'm not against him. I got him 3rd, and I could add him higher. I'm surprised you don't have Clever Forever higher. This horse, that track last time, I thought, while it was fair, I thought this horse ran a gigantic race, has no speed whatsoever, but this horse was flying. And if you like gallop outs,
I agree with you. And he wasn't being asked, and he was lugging in. So it wasn't
Right.
like
He was
Heather
very
could
green.
really hold him. But he took no money.
that's the weird thing about it. He didn't take a nickel. 20 to 1
That's
almost
what
first for
concerned
Todd.
me.
Yeah, I thought this horse
I mean,
really ran
it's
last
a
time.
loaded field of,
Yep.
nice
General
New
Banker
York
won the
breds.
stake in his next start.
But, and it wasn't like the race was falling apart by any means.
No, not at all.
There's ability there, but I didn't like the fact that he didn't take any money
And he
from
also
Doug
had
Fletcher.
no speed. I wonder if that's one of the reasons he did. The way he had no speed, he probably didn't work very well. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I tell you what, he ran.
He's come back with some quick drills.
Yeah, I'm very scared of him. I was a coin flip with a 2 and 7. In some ways, we'll see what price they end up. This is a really fun race. We've got 5 more good ones. The late pick 5 after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Maggie Wolfendale and Andy Serling. Race number 7, the Seeking the Ante. This one also came up super competitive in here. I thought a lot of times these 2-year-old stakes in the New York Breds have not been as competitive. I thought these were more competitive.
And you get a lot of maidens, people trying to take a shot. We do have one maiden in here, but she's legit.
Yeah,
so.
I think the problem, and I picked Stella Maris, and we'll put the video up on top, because she is the best horse in my opinion. But I do think you have to be concerned about the fact that this horse is coming back on just 14 days. And I know she was bet like she's supposed to win, but the winner was a Ken McPeak horse. This horse was running against Opens first time out.
Oh
and 7 furlongs first time. What's wrong?
I don't know. I don't really like her going 7. I mean, cutting back from the 7,
Really?
I should say. Yeah.
Okay.
She wants, I feel like she wants to go further.
Okay.
And I don't like her coming back that quick. She could, yeah. It was kind of funny, though. She was a New York bred, and the one who won was out of a New York bred mare.
Really?
Yeah. Wonder Ride was out of Wonderment. It was a New York bred stakes winner.
A very nice horse.
Yeah.
Who trained Wonderment?
Kenny.
Kenny. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. Yes. Was it Harold Lerner?
No. It was Walking L.
Okay.
Stable?
Caldwell Loves Gold. I'll let you talk about her.
I like
she was
Caldwell.
very impressive visually. I worried the rail was bad that day, and maybe she had the right kind of trip, though.
Yeah. She was very green early.
Did you think she was really climbing? I didn't really see it.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
And then, she ends up circling the whole field and just, it totally was a visual thing. And with these 2-year-olds, I kind of want to take horses that are visually appealing and visually impressive. The way she moved, just the way she lowered herself. Now, look, Lady Arwen came back to win in a not-so-competitive field. She was just best that day, didn't run particularly fast. But I think Caldwell Loves Gold is a nice filly and will run faster in all likelihood without the greenness, with the experience, and kind of I just like her as an individual.
She made a gigantic, long, sustained run in there, and I'm not going to deny it. I was worried the race was a little bit slow.
I'm worried about Concerti, though.
I'm worried about Concerti wiring the field. I mean, she may be the controlling
100%.
speed, but I will say that this was a good rail.
Correct.
And I think she was helped by the racetrack. So
And I'm not
sure
how
she beat.
good those horses were that she beat.
I did see your buddy
She
Joe.
did buck your stat.
I saw your buddy Joe Sharp the other night, and we discussed the fact that you don't pick his horses at all, and I pick them more than you do. We had a little chat about that. Clearly, you're not as loyal a friend as you pretend to be. Did beat the stat. This was Joe's first, what was it, win a 2-year-old dirt winner in Saratoga in 5 years, or over 5 years? Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, I don't take my
24.
shade lady lightly. This horse ran fast down in Gulfstream, and I'm not sure this horse is okay.
She's
got to be
be
forward
in the
here.
side to Concerti. I think she will be faster than what she was first time out.
I agree. The pace
they usually
projectors are lower, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure that's going to be the case. Good running on the Seeking the Ante. Slightly different opinions up here. Race number 8 is a fun race as well, I think. And, it's funny, the Whistler's Honor, we'll start by showing the Whistler's Honor video. This was the race where you and I were between 2 horses in here, and I picked King of Comedy second, and I put Noble Huntsman on top, and you went the other way, and you ended up having the right one at 5. We paid a crazy price of 5-1. But one thing on Whistler's Honor, this horse closed into an absolutely paceless race, but it was the same thing that happened with Noble Huntsman, is that he was compromised as well. He just didn't run at all this day.
Noble Huntsman.
No.
What?
Noble Huntsman. Is he a little better going shorter?
I don't know what the heck.
I don't know
Noble
what he is
Huntsman
either. He's just
I
random.
don't know when he's going to show up and what situation's best for him. So I can't. He'll be out of my picks. He'll beat me if.
Okay.
If he
I always
wants.
liked Whistler's Honor.
No, I actually had Whistler's Honor on top if the 13 hadn't drawn in.
Okay. Why do you
this
like the 13?
race. Gen Mint 10?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes, he was in a race that was forwardly dominated, but I kind of like that in here for one to be forward. Obviously, there's
Really?
some other horses to.
Well, the
to
7
go.
comes out, right? The
Right.
7 come out, yeah.
Yes, the 7 came out. Born a Dancer isn't slow, should be forward, obviously factually correct. But I just thought that, let's go Big Blue. He came back and won the Stallion Series 6, but was DQ'd.
Right, but he ran big out of that race.
What?
He ran big out of that
Huge,
race.
yeah.
Got an 86 buyer, or 85 or 86 buyer.
Right. So I just thought that Gen Mint 10 was kind of trending in the right direction. But Whistler's Honor is one that I like, and I think he's one that needs a start to kind of get things going. And like you said, was pace compromise and wired by King of Comedy. I just wasn't sure how he would negotiate, because he's this big, heavy horse, how he'd negotiate our turf course, which is labeled as good. And I'm not sure if he's going to be one that loves
A little give in the ground, but wasn't there a little give in the
surface.
ground the first time he ran here? I know the pace was super slow, but I wonder if that course was listed as firm and maybe not so firm.
Okay.
We'll see. No, but listen, I'm not. I hear you. I mean, I don't love the. I thought the 13 had to run the race last time, and that's why I was against him. But you're right. He ran against good horses. You know, Be of Courage. We'll show that
he's gonna
June
be
9th
speed,
race
too.
2 back. And he was completely eliminated at the start last time.
Yes.
This is a race that Noble Huntsman ran extremely well in. I thought Be of Courage just got a much better trip than Noble Huntsman, and that's why I was using Noble Huntsman, because he did run well wide. You wanted to be, you wanted to save ground in this race. I think they both ran well, and I think they're both major contenders in here. You a Be of Courage fan?
And two, I don't have him anywhere, but I think he's dangerous because he's inside speed. And this time when he, the time that he ran long, he did have a 7-pound apprentice on, and now he has a Hall of Famer on his back. So
Yeah, makes a big difference. And he ran well that day, by the way, at Aqueduct.
Omar Hernandez Moreno did nothing wrong.
He rode him very well. He's
I'm
ridden him
just
well
saying,
both times.
yeah.
He's just, I thought we made one mistake the first time out, but I thought he also did a lot of things right with him.
Yeah.
What about one headlight? You've got him third, I got him fourth. He was badly compromised by the lack of pace
Really?
last time, and he got
He
himself
never
in
had
position.
anywhere to go
Yeah.
either.
His
It was
race
just
2 back was pretty
It was
good.
just a messy kind of race for him, but he also hasn't necessarily run that fast yet. But who knows? He could have run faster, I suppose, if he had
He's also got the
gotten a
slow
cleaner
paces,
trip.
right? Exactly. I think he's probably better than his figs suggest. He's
Yeah.
just been a bit pace compromised. But on the other hand, he's Irad and Todd, so you're not going to really get a paid on him. And I think
No.
he's the kind of horse that's probably going to be a shorter price than he should be. But I also think he can win. Race number 9. I wanted to show, to start this one, the Lynn Wright Sarah Gaze race as we go to race number 9, because I know Lynn Wright finished ahead of her, but Sarah Gaze ran extremely well in here. And I wondered a little bit, this was opening day, that if Flavien Prat would like to have this one back. He's such a terrific rider. As it turned out, she was just moving too soon in here. And maybe there's
Yeah.
nothing he could do, but the
No.
pace just totally fell apart.
Yeah, but also, I don't want to say this was a totally, not as competitive race, but wasn't it not as
It wasn't a very,
good?
that's what worries me. It wasn't a very
Right.
good field. No, I agree.
So I kind of looked at this race and said, you know what? I want the class horses. I want the horses who have been facing better horses in these types of spots. I agree with you. Yeah, Lynn Wright.
I can't
little too much
resist.
too soon.
Right, I can't resist horses that ran against the grain of a race and ran as well as they did. But I worried about that as well, and that's why I put her second here. We both have the same horse on top, and that's Carrie. And I wanted to go back to her.
You can retract your former statement. You never picked
No,
Joe Sharp horses?
no, you're just trying to keep pace because you know that Joe and I are becoming better friends, and you're losing your hold
That
on
is
Joe.
the
That's
most
what's
unlikely
clearly.
scenario.
Listen,
that
you
will
never
happen on
know.
this show.
But I spoke to him the other night. I ran into him on the way home, and we had a very nice chat, Maggie, and we only made a little fun of you.
If only Joe actually
should-
watched this, he would be blushing about how much we talk about it.
Anyway, let's look at Carrie back on June 5th, and I think you and I have the same opinion here. This horse started out her career pretty well, and she really hasn't had a chance to show what she can do in this
Exactly.
kind of group, and this is a horse that could be pretty good here. I really like her today.
She's never faced New York breds on the turf.
Yeah.
Like, that was enough for me. I thought she was interesting in the Wild Applause, coming off of a little bit of a layoff off the trainer
That pace
change.
collapsed.
Completely
The horse who sat
incinerated.
third in there came back and ran really well in the Lake Placid.
A world of different horses,
Yep.
too. So, yeah, I'll take Carrie doing what she has proven she's capable of, at least in her 2-year-old season. Ran well in her first start as a 3-year-old at Tampa. Against New York Breds for the first time, yes.
What
Yes,
about
please.
little Lindsay getting back to sprinting?
Love her
I thought
too.
she had kind of a very good trip to back in a race that was forward, but she's
Last
also
time
pretty
she
good.
didn't have a good
No.
trip, so
And
I
she's
think
not a
you
router,
can
really.
exactly. She's not a router. She was ranked in what was a quick pace at the end of the day too. The winner came
Yep.
from last. She'll get Lasix for the first time today, and I know she's that first race. She's a little bit dressed up.
Yeah, that fig hasn't held up. The 79.
Exactly.
That's a little bit of a problem.
But this is what I think she is best at. I mean, what chance did she have in the matron? So really, she's only gotten to go the 5.5 once on the turf.
Isn't
before.
Weekend
And-
Rags is very logical in here? I mean, I thought she ran well as the pace last time, but she was a very logical
totally
horse
logical.
with Flavia, and she'd be forward
She
in
was
here.
the only horse that was forward that stuck around.
Yeah, I thought she was dangerous in here
Mm-hmm.
as well. It's race number 9, the 10th race, the Albany. So we'll start out in the Albany, and you don't have the same pick, and we'll actually show that replay third. But let's show the Allure Money Maker's Candy, and we'll show you the start. Listen, Maker's Candy was absolutely compromised.
Oh,
and
totally.
did run the best race. Now, you could make
It
that
was
argument.
weird, Andy. They just stuck the outside horse in and then broke, and it was
Yeah.
like he and Jose
Stumbled.
were just completely unprepared for that.
Yep.
And
He's back to last right now.
Right, and then now he has to steady, and then he has to hustle him up. He ends up 3 to 4 wide around the first turn. It was just a disaster.
And I understand when people make the argument and they say, well, he was 15 cents the dollar. He's supposed to be that much better in the fields. I don't care about that kind of stuff. The reality is he probably was 4 lengths the best in here, and he probably would have run a high 70 buyer. The question is he really a mile? And even if he won this race, let's say he had no trouble and won by 4 or 5 lengths and ran a 79 to 80 buyer, would you like him in here? And I'm not sure I would.
Exactly. And 2, my problem with him is the same reason you want to forgive him is the same reason you shouldn't take him, because so often he's unprofessional. He's
Yeah.
talented, but he's unprofessional. And that's what's going to get you beat at short prices more often than not. And I agree with you. Is he really a 2-turn type of runner?
He's won a mile, but I'm wondering a little bit. Now, the other thing is he's not going to be able to control this race because Mariachi, who has that big race last time, and he wasn't on the rail, but I put up a stat we'll show after we show the replay for John Kimmel. I don't want this horse stretching out at all. I think he's good, but I'm sure even John's thinking, I'm going from 6 to 1 1/8. I may be asking too much of this horse, but he is the speed by a
And look,
lot.
he's a really nice horse that's capable of running very fast races. But I agree with you. I don't want any part of him going this far.
Yeah, no, I think
And we'll see what kind of track we have today. Who knows? It could
I
be.
agree. He will speed
very
up at a certain
tilted.
point here, but he's kind of resting
He's
a little
ready
bit
to
right
see
now
right
and
now.
getting ready.
But we could see a track that
We
is
can just get rid of
favored.
this video, guys. Don't worry about that. We'll
That
just
is
go
favored.
right to the video of the horse that we picked in here, Drake's Passage. I don't know. I know Chickabelli did not run well next time, but Colloquy did, and I don't know. I'm just wondering if this horse is just a completely new horse for
Andy,
Christophe Lamont.
I don't think any of us that were covering that race particularly liked him that day.
I had left. So my embarrassment was on the bus, going the N6 bus, saying, huh, who won?
And he was a 3-year-old coming back off an extended layoff that, was facing.
Do you want to pass on the videos, Eddie?
decent-
We can do that. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, we can, but if you guys are in problems, it's not a big deal. Okay,
And isn't
thanks.
he supposed to even move? Is he supposed to move forward from that race? Like you would think, considering the layoff and everything.
I want to
mean,
talk.
even if he
I want
just
to talk to you
equals
about this
that.
for about a minute.
Sure.
There's a lot of talk on the show, and I disagree with it because you and I disagree with a lot of things. But this constant banner that second off a layoff, they're going to improve. I feel like when they run really well off the layoff, I worry a lot, and it's in a bounce thing. They may regress a little bit, and there's this constant. Oh no, they're going to run back. They don't. A lot of horses second.
No.
A lot of horses off a maiden win their debut regress in their second starts.
I purely just look at it from what they're showing me physically.
Okay. But you don't
and-
disagree that this notion that horses are always going to improve, especially when they run really well,
You know what?
is
and
a
I
flawed
need
notion.
and I need to take that back because now looking at my notes, I thought he looked really ready to go off the bench. So what I really thought is if he runs just that same race.
Oh yeah, no, listen. I like him. I
there's
think he
every
runs that
chance
race,
he could
but I think
regress.
people have to be careful with that. I disagree with something that we say too much on the show, I believe. And listen, there are people who say it disagree with me, which is fine. But I'm always worried. You know, if he had run 3 races and he had run decent figures, and I said this is who Drake's Passage is, because we can't be 100% sure that's exactly who Drake's Passage is. If it is, and he runs that race, he's going to win here.
Kristoff had pretty lofty comparisons to his sire
Really?
when he won. He
Really?
said he is the one tonalist that I've had that reminds me the most of him.
Okay, I'd like to know what the other ones were. We'll go to race number 11. And Maggie, I'm sorry, if the number 15, Foxy Karen, we can show her race 2 back.
Oh man, this is her.
If she doesn't win here, I mean, Mitch, man, you got to win today with this one.
Breeders' Cup race.
I mean, the problem with this race is not only picking her. Who else are you supposed to pick in here? I mean, I picked my second, third, and fourth choices all scratched. And I don't know that any of them were going to be good, but I have no idea where to go. I'm supposed to go to Chad's horse from Shelley, who, Testa Rossi, who's a very good turf horse. She is, by the way, named for Tom Coleman's wife, part owner. But
Shelley?
that's a very important handicapping angle.
Shelley and Tom?
Michelle. I think it's Michelle.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, there's just no
Tom's a wonderful
pedigree
man.
to lean on with any of these horses.
No, I know.
I mean, maybe they'll take after some of their sires. Lauban, Lady Lauban, they're better going long on the dirt. Twirling Candy, he can get any kind, but like Stern, what?
I put the 4-second because every George Weaver horse runs, they have speed. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
the
sort of
Dam
my
can
thinking.
run on both.
Yeah.
And M. Shawishes can run on both. So that, exactly.
You know what
Because
M. Shawish did?
What?
He won the last running of the Dawn, or the last running
Oh
of
my
the
gosh,
Dawn
that's right.
when it was called the Dawn, which is now called
What
the
did-
Pegasus.
What did Lee win?
What?
Lee. The horse Lee? The
Oh,
Belmont?
well, he ran against California Chrome,
Yeah.
but he also
Which
won it.
race
He
was
won it
that?
in 14. He won the first race we did when we did that
Shawish
Fox
was
series,
after Lee?
the Jockey Club and Fox. Yeah, it was when I was there. It was the
Okay.
16 when I was there because Seth had a horse and there was a speed who was
Got
on a
it.
dead rail who had just won like the Queens County at Aqueduct or something, and it ended
Love
up
that.
being on a dead
Angle.
rail. But that was M. Shawish winning.
Yeah.
I remember leaving in utter disgust. Anyway, we're done. It was fun as usual.
Yep.
Always a good time, Maggie. We always have fun in the show.
I'm glad
I
I
certainly enjoy
can be a
all
part.
of your appearances. You'll have one more next Sunday as well. There's a rumor that Frank might be closing out the meet. There's a rumor going
On
around
Monday?
on Talking Horses. I'm going to come, if he does it with me, I'm going to show replays of, I'm going to dig, because there haven't been many mistakes, but I'm going to find if he made a bad call, and I'm going to put it, because he has
No,
been so good at this
stop.
meet.
Yeah,
I got to
he's
pick on him
been
a little bit.
excellent.
I got to throw him off his game or something.
No, I just
find
want him
something. He's
to,
been great.
Because when you asked him to do Wayne Lucas, did he do it?
No, he wouldn't do it.
Frank, you gotta do it.
Don't be
so
nice because he wished you happy birthday today. By the way, it was Maggie's birthday yesterday. Who was the first person from in America to text you on your birthday?
Andy.
You know the first person to text me on my birthday? My friend Maggie.
We're up at weird hours.
Yes. Well, I actually woke up at 5, and I normally go back to sleep, and I said, I was going to text you at 12:01, but I'm not 100% sure you had your phone turned off, and I know that
I
you're
would have come
sleeping.
to work and
Right. Well, you don't turn your phone off? You
pitched
don't turn your phone off when you go to
No,
sleep?
honestly, I sleep through. I keep it on vibrate.
Okay. Yeah, right. Anyway, Andy Byer next Saturday as
I
well.
was going to ask. I was like, where's Andy?
The great
Isn't
man
Andy
will
there?
be returning to town, and
All
he will
right.
be on next
Going
Saturday.
for
I don't think he's going to
this
beat
week?
his 9 wins last year. One of the most legendary Talking Horse appearances ever. Naira Bets, head on over. If you're not a member, no better time than the present. Use the promo code SPA200 and we'll match with $200 of your initial deposit. Head on over. We have a lot of pick 4s, 3 of them today, 3 pick 5s. Check your local listings for those. The last one will be race number 8. $40 glow roller contest. Jay and Ray outside the Miller Times 4-Star Dave Sports Bar. $30 bankroll, $10 prize pool, a lot of fun. Check out the Low Rollers contest, becoming very, very popular, and for good reason. Is the cross-country pick 5 coming up next? Yes, it is. 3 at Saratoga, 2 at Monmouth. Is the $1 million bonus on the late pick 5. Got to play it through Naira Bets. Got to have a chance. Whatever it is, $1 and a dream, you got to play it that way. And we have the Taste of New York. A lot of fun. Head over to the New York Taste New York Pavilion Thursday through Sunday. Also right by there, Gate A, Berkshire Bank Family Zone. We got Berkshire Bank Family Sundays. Head on over to that. And 1 to 6:30 on FS2 as well. Maggie, having fun. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Are you celebrating it in some fun way?
Yeah, we're going to Vermont for the
Oh,
dark
really?
days.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's in Burlington.
Are you? Oh, good.
Haven't
All
been
right.
there.
All right, really. You got to see Fish last night, and then you're going to go to the original location of Fish? Go to the higher ground where they used to play many years ago?
See, only you know the jam band trivia.
Well, I know
don't.
because of Sean. I
Yeah.
really have only seen Fish a few times. Fish are tremendous, and I think what they
Yeah.
did at SPAC is a wonderful thing to raise money for
Absolutely.
the flood victims in Vermont. And so that's one of the things that makes them a great band. Anyway, thanks a lot. A lot more to come. Frank Miramati up next with a reprise, the Scratches and Changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.